Do you know what's happening on June 29th? Because it's going to affect us all. And whether or not you realize it, it's something that happens quite frequently. So you might want to pull up a chair. About 3 times a year, Mercury goes retrograde. Hear me out. And it gets a lot of guff. It gets a lot of bad press. Because when Mercury goes retrograde, people kind of feel entitled to blame it for everything that's going wrong with their current situation. What I'm going to do is tell you how it's really going to impact you and what you really need to prepare for. Hi everybody, my name is Michelle and I'm an astrologer. So if you love astrology, you want astrology updates, or you're even just kind of curious about popular stuff like Mercury retrograde and the truth behind it, subscribe to my channel for the full breakdown. Okay, so on June 29th, Mercury is going into retrograde, and it's extraordinarily significant, not because it's Mercury retrograde, because Mercury retrograde actually happens about 3 times a year. About 3 times a year, as viewed from Earth, Mercury appears to slow down and actually start moving backward. Now, it's not actually moving backward. It's just because of the way it revolves around the sun and how we're positioned in relationship to it, it looks like it is. Hence, Mercury retrograde. By mid-fall, all of the planets will pretty much have gone through, or most of the planets, maybe not Mars, maybe not Venus, most of the planets will have gone through a retrograde. In fact, most of the larger planets during the summertime do go through retrogrades. And Mercury is going into retrograde on June 29th, but it goes into retrograde on average 3 times each year. So what does it actually mean, and how does it actually impact us? Mercury rules thoughts, ideas, and communication. So our day-to-day can be impacted by a Mercury retrograde. Not that it causes mistakes. In fact, what really causes mistakes is the constant ignoring Mercury retrograde, the retrograde of our planets in general, and not understanding that sometimes the appropriate thing is to slow down and stop rushing things. But we live in a world that is completely removed from its natural origins, from nature in general, and insists upon living in isolation from everything natural going on outside of it. And then when something natural interferes or gets in, it's looked upon as a tragedy or destructive. Whereas if we were always connected, we wouldn't feel anything destructive at all. So when Mercury goes into retrograde, we're asked to slow ourselves down. We're asked to take more time with our thoughts, and especially what we speak or what we write. We're asked to take more time with our planning, and even sometimes the execution of how we get there. So slowing down and not pushing, and being more introspective and reflective of the decisions that we're making, why we're making them, what's driving us. All of these things can actually be very productive during Mercury retrograde, and it's what Mercury retrograde is used best for. This Mercury retrograde on June 29th is in Cancer. And so it's going to embody the flavor, the energy of Cancer, the zodiac sign, which is all about nurturing, psychic connection, intuitive understanding, emotions, comfort, sweetness, innocence, lovey-doveyness. When this energy marries with Mercury retrograde, we're going to experience a lot of nostalgia, a lot of melancholy, a lot of remembering things a lot better than they actually were. And what makes this retrograde, Mercury retrograde, so intense is that it's actually conjuncting Jupiter when it goes into retrograde. So Mercury is going into retrograde at 26 degrees Cancer. Jupiter is at 29 degrees Cancer when Mercury goes into retrograde. The next day, Jupiter transits out of Cancer entirely and into Leo. So it's not only conjunct to Jupiter, it's still conjunct to Jupiter when Jupiter transits into Leo. And it's conjunct to Jupiter while it's going through this transit into Leo. So it is in some ways calling into consciousness how we need to evolve, challenging the melancholy attachments that keep us safe, but also hold us back. Another very poignant dynamic of this Mercury retrograde is that it is square to Chiron. Chiron has just entered Taurus, so it's at like 1 degrees Taurus, which puts it square to the Mercury retrograde, which is happening at the very end of Cancer. So it's about a 57-degree difference. So it's still a pretty tight square. And what Chiron teaches us is about what wounds us, about what handicaps us. And the fact that it's squaring Mercury retrograde conjunct Jupiter, it's demonstrating just how much we've been held back or been handicapped by specific thoughts or beliefs, especially coming from our childhood. So this is a great time to ask yourself, and I wrote this down so you can look with me on my paper. It's a great time to ask, am I remembering it bigger and better than it was? The story I know about it, whatever it is, whatever memories are bubbling to the surface, and they will now. With Jupiter there's no way this intense wave of melancholy memory isn't going to come up in you to the point of distraction, especially if you have significant placements at the end of Cancer. So if your sun, your moon, your rising sign, your Pluto sign, anything really powerfully impactful, especially if your Mercury's there, because it's in your Mercury return, is right there at the end of Cancer, this is going to just kind of magnify and multiply the impact. The story I know about it, whatever it is, whatever is coming to mind or coming into recollection or confrontation with you right now, is it true, or how have embellishments usurped the truth of what it really is? And how can the clarity and the truth of what it really is actually help me transform myself by letting go of this shadow dream of what I thought it was and its hold over me? Because, and probably most powerful of all, right across the way at the beginning of Aquarius, at 4 degrees Aquarius, which still puts it into opposition with this Mercury retrograde and this Jupiter transit, is Pluto. And Pluto doesn't take any bullshit. And Pluto always speaks the truth, and it is there to purify through destruction anything and everything that has been fogging or getting in the way of what is true. Especially in Aquarius, which is all about universal truth. We are all going to be called during this retrograde to see things for what they really are instead of how we remembered them. And that is going to be more painful or poignant for a lot of people. Not only because they may have to relive certain things, but also because they might have to deal with deep issues around shame for having let things go so far for so long because it got comfortable for them. I said that there's going to be a square to Chiron. How does that impact the current Mercury retrograde, and how will that change or shift, or what does that add to the energy that is you're going to be experiencing? Chiron is newly in Taurus. Where is the real injury is what it is begging us to understand, because Taurus is grounded energy and it deals with earthly, grounded truths. Aquarius deals with truth in concept, in intellect, but Taurus deals with truth in reality, practical truth. So where is the real injury, right? We want to get to which bone is cracked and how to fix it, like in metaphor. This will challenge the fairy tale melodrama we've convinced ourselves of, and demand we find our power by insisting we work through it to prove to ourselves that we can. I am in no way, shape, or form any kind of therapist, but the best advice that I've heard with regards to trauma is the way you heal trauma is by facing it, and is by struggling through it. There's an acceptance of it, and then there is the healing process of it, which is the hard work of realizing that even though my trauma was not my fault, it is my responsibility. And that's 100% what's happening here. This sense of let's get to the truth of something, but then we have to actively do something about it. Now, retrograde is the perfect time to see it, to discover it, to understand it, and maybe on some levels start to understand how to heal it. If not plan how to heal it, then understand how to heal it. And I want you to rest assured that you're also, the answers are going to be coming too. This isn't like, the universe isn't trying to be enigmatic. With a square to Chiron, you know, this is almost like the tension that happens when we can't clearly see something, when we just don't have the instructions, or are not being spoken clearly to, and how that can really impact negatively our experience. This can, especially because it is in the sign of Chiron is in the sign of Taurus, can impact financial struggles within the family, because remember, Mercury is now at the end of Cancer. Financial struggles within the family can be healed through this confrontation between Chiron, the square between Chiron and Mercury retrograde. This is really important, because Taurus also deals with public reputation. So old reputations, things that people have decided, ways people decided they know us. Old reputations can be challenged now and dismantled. You only have to wear the uniform. Wait, you don't have to wear the uniform somebody else has dressed you up in. Not anymore. So this is actually a time, especially with Mercury retrograding in opposition to Pluto, to completely break out of whatever persona has been created through your youth, to challenge it, to show up and dismantle it, and to insist on people seeing you for what you are and not what people have said you are. Now, Jupiter will expand all of this, because Mercury retrograde is conjunct to Jupiter. Jupiter, therefore, is also square to Chiron right now. So there's a lot of, it's almost like it could, unfortunately, increase hardship and increase the struggle, but it also magnifies it. So it makes it easier to diagnose, to understand, and to finally see where it's all coming from, and pushes it to the surface, which is where Taurus lives. Taurus lives, it's on the surface, it's above ground, whereas opposite Taurus is Scorpio, everything that happens subterranean, subground, underground. So everything on Taurus is happening not shallow surface level, but it's now tangible, it's now practical, and you can work with it. This is a great time, especially if you've been on the downside of like negative reputation or negative decisions being made against you. This is a fantastic time to take action to challenge why people think those things of you. Ask them to prove it. Don't be afraid of confrontation, not violent confrontation, but practical and intellectual confrontation of, why do you believe those things? Why do you say those things about me? But that happened 30 years ago. That happened when I was 12 years old. That happened, you made that decision about me when we were in high school. We've been out of high school for 20 years now. Like it's time to challenge those old notions that keep you stuck, and also enable other people to keep you stuck someplace that's convenient for them so they don't have to be challenged by you. Now, this retrograde is going to last between June 29th and July 22nd. And it's not going to be conjunct to Jupiter or in opposition to Pluto the entire time. It's just this impact ground zero phase of when Mercury actually goes into retrograde that's kind of going to reverberate and set up all of the issues and the challenges that we're going to have to face while the retrograde works itself through and over the next 3 weeks. What is wonderful, however, is that Jupiter continues to move forward. So Jupiter moves deeper into Leo and Mercury moves back deeper into Cancer, and they draw away from each other. And Jupiter carries into Leo the power and capability of finding our heart space and illuminating our life purpose and filling us with the courage it's going to take to trust the assignment God has given us. Even in breaking through our own ego, and just trust and hear our life purpose and what we're meant for, and to give us the courage to actually go for it and do it. Now, all of this is happening during Mercury retrograde. So in other words, the cosmos is setting up the perfect time for you to let go of those old and limiting beliefs about yourself, because it's also going to publicly and openly give you the perfect energy to publicly and openly challenge other people's convictions that you are that old thing. So it's setting us up all for like the perfect scenario to define, to break free from the version of you that you're stuck in, and connect and start on that path toward the you that you're capable of being. So this is a quite liberating time. A time where we can liberate ourselves from those chains that are holding us down, financial struggles, financial hardships, reputation that had wounded us or kept us subjugated in some way, or part of our life subjugated in some way to what was convenient for other people and what was really repressing our ability to be the best version of ourselves. And now, through the confrontation of that and through the intentional healing of that, to make a beautiful comeback. So look at this energy as really the start of the rest of your life. The second half that could be the best half of, I don't want to say second half. Yeah, the second half, or the second version that could be an even better version of your life. Like, this is a very liberating period for, I would say, especially if you have any significant placements at the end of Cancer or in direct opposition at the end of Capricorn. You know what? Let's do all cardinal signs. Cardinal signs in general, huge leap forwards here. Follow for more specifics or leave comments and I'll respond to them.